Here we are at the beginning of another year, and no matter what topic or subject anyone wants to explore, it's so cool that all one has to do is click play, and they're now on their way into their chosen journey, which is why we thank you all for making the decision to join us this week. So, without further ado, let's slide on into the orchard. Hello, Cooper. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm good. And hello and welcome to all of our Orchard Archivers, and thanks for making the choice to join us. Today we have a special sweet treat for you, and that's
Mhm.
revisiting the most beloved educational kids show, Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
So, Reading Rainbow was an educational program for young viewers that introduced illustrated readings of kids' books and children's literature and explores their related subjects. It launched on PBS in 1983 and was hosted by the multi-talented, charismatic LeVar Burton.
Wow,
Yeah.
1983. I can't believe that. Wow. Well, it's been years since we used to regularly watch the show Reading Rainbow. We do remember how much we loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Two things I remember pretty well were the opening sequence and that theme song. The sheer excitement of the show started right at the beginning when that oh so familiar song cues up the feeling that those adventures are about to begin.
Yes, so true. The song at the start is epic, right
Yeah.
along with those animated sequences that give you that taste, that visual appetizer that beckons you to ignite your vast imagination.
Mhm.
Butterfly in the sky. I can fly twice as high. Oh, did you want to sing that, Cooper? Go ahead.
No,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hog that up. Go
no.
ahead. Take a look. It's in a book. It's Reading Rainbow. So
Oh,
the series encourages a key theme from a children's book in each of its episodes and explores this theme through a series of segments and stories.
by the way, nice job singing there,
Why,
Kennedy.
thank you.
Oh, wow. Seriously, though, this is the epitome of PBS educational shows. Think how this show really helps instill the value of reading in young
Yes.
kids. Values that will follow them, really us, all throughout life. I can't think of a pure, better show for kids. I love the stories LeVar would read, and it surely did its job by opening up and filling my imagination.
Yet each episode provided something different about the world and the people in it, directly to kids,
Mm-hmm.
giving
Mm-hmm.
them a very diversified and educational experience.
Uh-huh. They'd read a book during each episode that was read either by Mr. Burton or by some celebrity guest
Mm-hmm.
reader, and that was always such a treat. The celebrity reader brought the author's story to life and would open up new vistas for kids.
Yeah, and also when displayed, the illustrations brought such light and color to each story that the story
Mhm.
story truly pops and becomes real right before your eyes.
It sure did.
Yeah. PBS had a lot of wonderful educational shows like this at the time.
Very true. But Reading Rainbow did more than just try to encourage children to enjoy reading.
Mm-hmm.
It also tried to teach them, us, about a lot of different things. It gave us a good look at science, history, and culture. We grew up watching this show, which really helped instill the value of reading in us. Values that will and have followed us throughout life.
That is so true. I vividly remember our childhood. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't have much money, and cable TV, which was all the rage back in the 80s, it was
Mm-hmm.
basically a no go. So My siblings and I didn't have all the fancy games and toys that were big in the 80s, but there was always one thing we did have, and that was the capacity to be boundless with our imaginations and go wherever we wanted. And to a
Hmm.
child, that is a powerful thing because if you don't have that kind of escape, what do you have?
That's an excellent
Mm-hmm.
question. Yeah, that's powerful, Kennedy. But but what you just described is exactly what fueled our young
Yeah.
years. That's a major reason Reading Rainbow really turned me on to reading as a kid. We need more shows like this to get kids who have, that endless array of channels like tech and multiple video games back to the basics of reading.
So agree with that, Cooper. I heavily agree with that. So great point.
Mhm.
So again, let's point out who and why Reading Rainbow did that for us and so many other kids at the time. LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton was an
He
awesome host.
was.
Hosting the same show for so many years shows his dedication to literacy among
Mm-hmm.
children. Mr. Burton does a nice job of imparting important virtues to kids. He emphasized respect for creativity and craft. Let's see, he emphasized respect for your elders, and he also emphasized respect for the environment, all of which is sorely lacking
Yes.
today. So, what more could you ask for? In an age when sadly some parents take minimal responsibility for raising kids, and in turn, kids not having much respect for most things, or more importantly, for human feelings and life.
That is another vital good point, Cooper. You're nailing them in today.
Where's my
It's
hammer?
in your hands, silly. So that is the key reason why I've always thought that Reading Rainbow was such a valuable gem in pop culture. Again, it taught and encouraged core life values, all the while still dialing up fun and creativity through reading to make life better and more enjoyable. It helped kids
Mhm.
like us not only to read better, but to also understand and love books.
Yeah, everyone did a great job bringing each and every story to life.
Sure did. As children of the early 80s, media started becoming a more integral part of our lives back then. But it's no
Mhm.
secret that it's even more so in current times. Tech and its various devices, video games, and fast paced shows are great, even handy, but even as adults, these things tend to heavily distract and take away and rob us of valuable time we could be doing something much more productive and beneficial on the daily.
Right, right. So, if today's distractions are designed to easily lure ones away from what's more important, even as adults, just think how much more so these very same elements can attract or take away a child's
Yeah,
attention span, which makes school, learning, reading less enjoyable. Sadly, even for the brightest of
that's so
children.
true. Okay, so now as a brief disclaimer, neither Cooper or myself have children.
Nope.
We and our respective spouses are happily child free.
Yep.
Happily. But, being somewhat in tune to retro pop culture classics and going over just how enjoyable they were for us kids, honestly, nowadays there doesn't seem to be many shows available or simply treasured like Reading Rainbow. So, like I've mentioned, we're not parents. So maybe some of you parents out there can help us out and give us some updated feedback on what is currently out there that you allow or even encourage your young ones to view and enjoy when it comes to educational programming.
Yeah, because we truly don't have a clue. Please let us know. We'd love to hear what's really going on out there for the younger
Yeah.
generations going, especially with dealing with things or routines being switched up for so many due to the current pandemic. With so many trying to implement virtual learning and such, yeah, please let us know. We would be eager to hear what you have
Yeah,
to
that
say.
will be quite fascinating to get some current insight into that. So I hope I'm
Hmm.
not jumping ahead of the conversation on that, but I do feel, I doubt very much, that many modern shows have that same kind of appeal to the old and young alike as Reading Rainbow did. The scope
Mm-hmm.
of reading is a whole new world opened up for children. It truly helps us explore our creativity, took us on untold adventures through vivid imagination, and provided educational merit.
Kennard, that is so true. You know, there was nothing quite like cracking open a good old fashioned book and reading it to
Yeah,
this day.
yeah.
So, to wrap up this most entertaining discussion about reading Rainbow, it was a valuable treasure for any child. This fascinating jewel is a great retro flashback that brings back fond memories from the past and make you feel like you're a bright-eyed kid
Oh
again.
boy, I love it. Bravo. So before we go, we do have a couple of fun facts for you Orchard Archivers.
Okay.
Number one, did you know that LeVar Burton's debut performance as Kunta Kinte in Alex Haley's Roots was for which he won an Emmy back in 1977? Yeah.
Ah.
And secondly, also his role on Star Trek The Next Generation, where he played Geordi LaForge, spanned 7 whole seasons.
Wow, that's a long one.
Yes, it is.
And those are super cool, fun facts, both of those. As I'm sure there's more, but to end this on a warm note, the answer for his best work and possibly one of the greatest children's television shows of
Mm-hmm.
all time is the one we so enjoy traveling back in time to revisit today. And that's none other than Reading Rainbow. This show truly set the standard for what would become the foundation and basis of all children's programming. But as LeVar Burton would always classically say, you don't have to take my word for it.
And that's it for this week's episode. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. Join us again next time when we'll be back with more captivating retro entries. If you have any suggestions, requests, or feedback, head over to anchor.fm and like, share, and get involved. See you next time, and may every bite be sweet.